We're going to go. Well, welcome to the next installment of the Bedford County Public Schools ITC Plugged In series. I'm Jonathan Fry, and today we're going to hear from Nathan Munson, David Harlow, Morgan Johns, and our special guest, Deb Serio.
For the first podcast, the instructional technology coaches did a great job tackling the daunting theme of student engagement and did a wonderful job of it. Today's podcast will focus on differentiation. Future podcasts will go more into detail about tiering and how it pairs well with differentiation. Differentiated instruction is a great way to connect with all students by tailoring instruction to meet each student's individual needs, regardless of their abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. So at the core of differentiated instruction is the modification of four different elements: content, what students learn; process, how do students make sense of the information and ideas; product, how they show what they learned; and learning environment or effect, the climate or tone of the classroom. These modifications are based on an assessment of student differences and readiness, interest, and learning profile. And to go a little bit more into depth, I'm going to pass it over to David.
Hey guys, I was just going to give you a few facts about differentiation for you to think about as we go through today's podcast. Differentiation increases attention and focus. It also motivates students to practice higher level critical thinking skills, and it is effective for high ability students as well as students with mild to severe disabilities. When students are given options or choice in their education, they take on more responsibility for their own learning. Students seem to be more engaged, and there are reportedly fewer discipline problems in classrooms that provide differentiated instruction. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Morgan and our special guest, Deb Serio.
So today we're talking about differentiation, and it is not a new concept in education. However, there are many misconceptions out there about what exactly differentiation is. And differentiation is more than instructional strategies. It is a way of thinking and an approach to teaching and learning. The goal of differentiation is to provide all students with learning opportunities that meet their individual needs. And it gives students the opportunity to be successful with content by playing to their strengths, which in turn builds their confidence. So our teacher guest today is Deb Serio. And yay, thank you for being with us today.
Anytime.
Okay, Deb's been an English teacher for over 20 years. She has 2 master's degrees, one in curriculum and instruction and one in administration. She taught at CVCC, and her passion is instruction. So, Deb, why is differentiation important? Why does it matter?
Differentiation is important because it matters that we address the needs of all students, right? That's our job. And so, I don't want you to think about differentiation as just a tool or a bag, something in your bag of tricks that you have as a teacher. Differentiation, and first an acknowledgement, like this work is difficult and time consuming, but it means like really understanding the needs of your students. And that means collecting good assessment data. That means creating a relationship with kids so you know their interests. And I don't remember which one of you was talking about interests and readiness and that learning profile, but how do you know those things unless you know your students? So this isn't just a strategy. This is understanding that teaching and learning is not something we do to kids. It's something that's within us, right? That we learn, we're teaching, it happens in us as learners. And I think it was David that said that, kids are more engaged when you're differentiating. And that really is about kids being willing to take intellectual risks because you're meeting them at a challenge level where they can be successful. So really good stuff that in that intro.
Right. And so the relationship piece, that's that really big piece, right? Why is that so important in terms of differentiation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't know your kids, that's the key to doing it correctly. And I think, our data culture, the culture that our new instruction department is creating in schools, that really speaks to understanding who our children are, who are in front of us, and what they bring to the classroom, and how then we can modify instruction to meet their needs.
So what would be some pros and cons to differentiation?
I don't think there are any cons to differentiation. I think what happens sometimes is we think about it as I'll just give a couple of different worksheets, when really what we need to do is deeply understand what has to happen for certain students. So I think Nathan was talking about content and process and product and environment. There are lots of ways to differentiate, but which way is best for the student, singular, that you have in front of you? And that means understanding individual student needs. I mean, our students, we need to see as unique learners with unique needs, and we have to somehow in our crazy life that is the teaching world meet those needs. And again, that's takes time and takes good assessment, and really, that's the joy of teaching and learning. You're really going to meet your students' needs and see that they'll succeed.
So some examples that we have of differentiation would be, especially on the primary elementary level, groups being grouped by reading or math ability. Other options are choice boards and having those set up in ways that, you may individualize the choice board to meet the student's needs. Mastery paths in Canvas really helps when you have a large population of students, helps to meet that differentiation piece. Any other examples that you can think of?
Yeah, and that really speaks to compacting, right, the curriculum, where you're saying to someone, you have mastered this skill, you can move on. And when you haven't mastered that skill, and this happens in a lot of classrooms, that we're moving on anyway, right? So we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that every student is meeting those levels of mastery as we go. I love those mastery paths in Canvas. And when you build them, you can really see the power of this as a learning tool.
Right. Well, thank you for being with us today, Deb.
Anytime.
And
Really,
we're back over to,
I guess me, yes. All right, we're going to go ahead and close out today's podcast. Remember that the next episode will go into more detail about how tiering pairs well with differentiation. So until next time, we hope that you continue to tune in and also reach out and utilize your ITCs. The next podcast will most likely be from a different group, and it'll be called Small Group Instruction. So on behalf of David and Nathan and Morgan and Deb, we sign off. Until next time, you guys have a great day. Thanks a lot.